now be joined by Mayor Ortega. Mayor Ortega, we know that you have had a long time and involvement in the Alli Ortega Empty Bowls project. Why don't you tell us about your involvement over the years?
Well, Empty Bowls has always held a special place in my heart because our daughter, Alli Ortega, would usually remind me days ahead, now, Dad, don't forget Empty Bowls is coming up. I'm sure when you go, you'll see things you'll like and you're going to buy some. And sure enough, for many years, I would accompany her and I would meet 150 kids who would tour Scottsdale Community College. They learned about the campus, they ate pizza, and they learned about world hunger. But they also had decorated and donated bowls for the event. 2014 was especially hard for us because that's the year we lost Alli. And 2020 was especially hard for the entire world. The pandemic made everyone feel vulnerable about food, a job, a roof over their head, and food on the table. Everyone was affected. Now imagine if every day and always we had worries about shelter, food, and health. That's why Empty Bowls and the Scottsdale Community Partners work so hard together. The working poor and the vulnerable, for many reasons, deal with these vulnerabilities day after day. Now, the Empty Bowls project, an event, is held in a large meeting room at Scottsdale Community College. And these kids would be very noisy and talkative, and others would come in from the city, from the community, from the college, and look around and buy their bowl. And well, we get them to settle down a bit and listen to speeches. And those speeches would go on for a while, and I would end up having the most fun because towards the end, I would get to toss out free T-shirts and tote bags to the kids. So it was always an enjoyable experience for me, and certainly is going to continue this year.
It is. We're just forced doing it a little differently this year. But we're so excited that you're still able to share your story. I would love to know. I've been doing interviews all day and heard so many great things about your daughter, Alli Ortega. I would love to know even more about her. Can you shine a light on who she was?
Well, Alli Ortega was born in Scottsdale. She was our first child, and she got to be a big sister for Luke. And they grew up in the neighborhood and loved their schools and friends. And when Alli was 16, she volunteered at the Paiute Neighborhood Center during the summer program. So they had a program for teens to get involved with even younger kids. And year after year, Alli volunteered for the next 4 years, and then she went off to college, got a degree in sociology and psychology and art. She was always loving art. And sure enough, after graduation, she was hired by the city of Scottsdale and enjoyed continuing that work pretty much full time. So she worked with the youth of Scottsdale and enjoyed after school tutoring and art projects and so forth. So the Empty Bowls event is actually a nationwide event, but it's done locally. And Scottsdale Empty Bowls was really something that she enjoyed because they would, mold clay and fire clay along with Janet Blum, the art teacher, and then glaze, paint and glaze those pieces. So it had a great personal touch. And then the kids would usually put their initials on the back, and Alli loved working with children. That's a great part of her life. Um, she was involved with Paiute Neighborhood Center for 16 years.
She really did give so much of herself to our community. And here you are now also giving to the community, serving as our mayor. We're so excited about that. Where do you see the partnership between the city and Scottsdale Community Partners flourishing in the future?
Well, it is an honor to be elected, mayor of Scottsdale. I spoke as a dad at the last 7 Alli Ortega Empty Bowls events. And it wasn't always easy, but I can say that the encouragement of others, the enthusiasm of the kids, and they gave what they could, right? They would decorate, and sometimes uh, a child would say, someone bought that bowl that I made, and they were happy about it. Or the other one would say, oh my gosh, I wanted to buy that one back for my mom. And I would usually tell them, look, guy, your mom's gonna love everything you do, and thank you so much for giving what you did as a child, really. Now I'm mayor and I'm also her dad. So it's doubly important to know that the city of Scottsdale, Human Services, which involves so many areas, we're concerned about people being able to pay rent, after school programs, some extra tutoring, and all of those programs, which actually involve seniors as well. And in this time of COVID, they're especially critical period for people. We have applied the federal dollars to make sure that we have really converted all the senior nutrition programs to Meals on Wheels. So city staff is actually delivering those meals to individuals because they cannot come into the senior center as we did normally. I'm amazed the way our city staff has worked so hard to deliver those essentials, including in some cases vitamins and medicines, and making sure that their utility bills are paid. So it's been, as I mentioned earlier, kind of a difficult situation, but we've all stepped up. And that's why I admire Scottsdale Community Partners. That's the umbrella, a nonprofit organization, which has always worked in tandem and actually with office space at Vista del Camino. So they're able to handle, interviews and intervention when they can, and we're able to work with that very valuable partnership. So the donations that the children made. Oh, and by the way, some of the donations or artists were made by not only 8-year-olds, but 88-year-olds. So this becomes a craft project, which the Scottsdale Center for Performing Arts works into the senior programs. And sometimes I can tell the difference between an 8-year-old's pot and an 80-year-old's pot, but sometimes they look very similar. So I know that everyone is just putting their own personal touches on it. And that's a very rewarding and engaging thing. So the Scottsdale city has a partner with the arts community, and they take it out to both schools and other areas, and even some corporations cooperate, and they do this as a day of giving to the Empty Bowls program. So it really is a community event, and it's an educational event. As something that I, as mayor of Scottsdale, and I know the city council is really committed to meet the challenges that we're undergoing right now. But we're doing a very good job. And this is why we can always, if you know somebody in need, we'll get those referrals done and make sure that we're as responsive as we can be.
I appreciate that, Mayor. It oftentimes people, we've talked about it in the past and we talk about it on our board, but a lot of people don't think that there's a need in Scottsdale, and there's very much a need in Scottsdale.
Well, the 2020 census will come out, which will not just talk about population, also about showing who is employed, unemployed, size of family, and so forth. And those are the numbers, but the truth is that Scottsdale has approximately 9.5% of the population live at or below the poverty line. And when I mention a working poor and being able to, feed your family of 4 or 6, many times there are, of course, both spouses working, and yet they fall short. And it's a year-round situation. Very hard working people and elders as well, who are stuck in that area of trying to make ends meet. So Scottsdale has many needs. Normally, those interviews and the frontline people are at Via Linda Senior Center, at the Granite Reef Senior Center, Vista del Camino, and then, of course, through Paiute Neighborhood Center. Now, I know that there have been a lot of closures and cutbacks, but the city still has our 24-hour, call helpline, and we still will do everything we can to come to your door, if necessary, to reach you. So the needs are there. Yes, we're one of the wealthier communities, but I can say that so many people that do have the means are also contributing every way they can. And as this program rolls forward, I hope to hear from these other voices. I know it takes a lot of hands and hearts and so forth to make this program work. It's a long distance program. We don't have the person-to-person contact, but we will next time. I'm sure we will. And I want to hear more from these voices, and I hope to come back later in the program and conclude with anything else, including anything else.
We just appreciate everything that you have done for this event in the past and currently everything that you're doing. But I wonder if there is a memory, either something funny or something that's really touched your heart that you could kind of leave us with today.
Well, sure. 2 years ago, we decided to change the program slightly because it was a lunchtime event and people from the city or the school could come in and enjoy that time. But we decided to have an evening event on the same day. We called it Hungry Hour, sort of a takeoff of Happy Hour, right? And it was more of 4 to 7 o'clock when people could drop by after work. And it was very successful. So we had those who could attend lunchtime and then in the evening. And of course, now we're doing it all remote. But 2 years ago, what stands out to me is that our son and his wife and our 2 grandsons were in town. They live in South America, and they were in town in December when we held this event. So it was extra fun to have our two grandsons, there and pointing and looking at the bowls and a 3 and a 5-year-old just were kind of overjoyed with that. Well, what topped it off was when Artie, the mascot, the only vegan vegetable mascot, I think, in collegiate life. Anyway, so Artie walks out with his green form and his long pod legs, and the boys just were just so stunned, and he kind of knelt down, and they had a fun time. So, I think that it is an education, and it is interesting to anyone who can participate. So I know that we're going to continue to evolve with our next in-person one. And who knows, it may even be possible later this year. It just depends on how the vaccine rolls out and so forth. So that's the part that I look forward to. And kind of like the first time a 3 and a 5-year-old see a walking green artichoke, I guess that's what I remember as kind of a funny point.
What a great time. Mayor Ortega, I just want to thank you for all of your time that you have given and your passion for the project and the partnership that we have working with you and just everything that you do for the city of Scottsdale. We really appreciate all your hard work. And thank you for everything that you give to this event and the wonderful children that you raised to be as giving as you are. What a legacy that you've been able to give. And thank you so
Well,
much.